down there a
Well,
little bit.
okay, so I made it very clear when we're all going to bed.
Right, but you also made the comment very clear that so she could have more personal time with her son.
I said on the half nights that he is there because as a parent and as a child, when you only have partial custody, it's completely normal and completely natural, I think, to feel like you don't get enough time with your mom when you can only be with her 3.5 nights a week. Every child's going to feel that way. Every child is going to feel that way.
Nobody said that any different.
Well, what does that have to do with you?
I don't think it had anything to do with me. Okay. That's my point, is I don't think it had one thing to do with me. But I wasn't leaving her up there alone, and I wasn't leaving her, I don't think we were depriving our relationship because they slept in the same room and woke up in the same room. I don't think that changed. I really don't think that changed anything, but they did have a nighttime routine. As far as what time and exactly what he was going to do the next day, and as a step-parent, you're not as involved in every one of those specific decisions as the biological parent is. And you
Does his stepmother at his dad's house sleep in the same room with his dad? Or does she sleep somewhere else? Because I think to an 8-year-old kid, that's got to be very bizarre. My mom married this guy, but he doesn't sleep in the same room. I think it's very nice.
all the time. You're making a global, universal statement on something that isn't.
Well, there's more.
And I think he understands that we
Okay.
do things sometimes. In fact, sometimes he would want to have a night where we stayed up watching movies and we would sleep together. We hadn't done that since the house. We had done that for about 1.5 years since the house had switched, but we were talking about doing it more. I just don't want to paint those things to be any. You're right. That's not who I am. I would never look at something that's so understandable and so benign and think something.
Then what happened?
But you're also not investigating someone's murder, and we are.
I granted.
Okay.
Granted.
Okay, and
I
so.
don't think we need to exaggerate any of the
And
points that I make clearly
and
or
listen,
say they're discrepancies.
And had you walked in and told the truth several hours ago, we'd be done by now. But we haven't heard it. Okay? So forgive us for grasping at straws and maybe trying to choose.
I do.
And maybe trying to choose things that mean nothing. And I think we're kind of grasping at straws because we're not hearing it, Dave. I mean, you can walk in and this can take 15 minutes and you just got to say, I screwed up, I made a mistake, and this is what happened. But we have not heard that from you in a very long time. And that's why we keep going over it and over your past statements and over everything you've told us, because there's sliver of truth in every lie you've said tonight. Sliver of truth in all of it. So maybe we're hitting on that, making it a big deal, and it's not a big deal. But we're missing something.
Maybe it was extremely stressful to walk in and see your wife in that condition, and if I miscalculated marginally the amount of water that was there, she was certainly wet. She was certainly.
I don't know why you would have been shocked seeing that when you knew she was deceased before you left.
I didn't say I knew she was deceased before I left. I didn't say that until tonight, that looking back on it, that I thought it was more likely she had gotten in the shower before I took the dogs than after. That's all I said.
Okay, look at.
So I was still.
Dave, she didn't stick her foot in the shower and slip. That didn't happen.
If she did, she would have fell backwards.
And you didn't find her at 3:00. That didn't happen.
I don't know that.
You don't know that? Common sense would tell you if you pull a woman soaking wet out of a tub at 3 o'clock and call the police within 6 minutes, that everything will be soaking wet when the police arrive within 3 minutes of that.
Yeah.
That's common sense.
So how did everything dry out?
That's our question. Because
It
she
happened-
wasn't pulled out at 3 o'clock. It didn't happen.
Nope. There's a science behind evaporation, and that science is not matching
It's not magic.
3
Okay.
o'clock.
I can take a
Science.
shower at 6:30 in the morning, and at 10 o'clock at night, my towel's still wet. The shower even stays wet. I mean, it's just common sense.
The water was definitely filled up to where you said, but
That-
not at 3 o'clock.
That's the sliver of truth. There's blood in the water. There's another sliver of truth.
Mhm.
I know you think you thought of everything, but you didn't.
I don't think I thought of everything, and I've told you over and over, I don't know.
You do know. You have to stop saying you don't know, because you do know. You do, David. You do know. You know exactly what happened, because it was only you and her there. There was nobody else there. Nobody.
I don't know what happened when I wasn't there.
No,
There
I'm sure.
There had to have been close to well over an hour in the morning that I wasn't there, and well over 2 hours in the afternoon that I
Right,
wasn't
that's
there.
very possible that you left the residence. However, when you were there, whatever happened to her happened when you were there. It didn't happen when you were gone. It happened when you were there. And I wouldn't expect you to know what happened when you were gone. Nothing happened when you were gone.
She was already deceased.
Talk around in circles. Trust me. The evidence and her body speak for itself. And your story is BS. So you better figure it out before it goes too far. Because I'm telling you right now, nobody is going to believe that. Nobody. If you maintain that, you're going to look like a fool. Picture telling that story with your mother sitting there listening to that in trial. And you're like,
As it's picked apart by as everything you told us is picked apart by everyone who testifies.
and we haven't even hit on everything.
We're holding some of it back, waiting to hear the truth. People can be sympathetic when they hear people be honest and remorseful. They can be empathetic to a situation that gets out of hand. But when people lie for hours on end and say, I know nothing about nothing, I don't know how she got that way, I thought she tripped and fell, I wasn't home, I was here, I was there, conveniently, you're not there. It's complete hogwash.
And we haven't even got the medical examiner's findings from the strangulation and all the things that go along with that. It's science. It's not guessing. It's medical science.
Plus everything we've done at your home tonight. We're still there.
So what time did it happen? Was it before you took the dogs or when you came back? Let's start with that. What time did this argument ensue? I'm gonna go with, from the story that you told us, I'm going somewhere around 11:30. 11:30, 12:30-ish. If you went for the walk around Lake Lucerne, Lake Davis.
Which we'll be able to prove.
Yep. If you did that and came back, 10:35, 10:45 would be real close. Both cars were there, so I figured she decided not to go to the dentist. I told her I was going to take the dogs to the park earlier to play frisbee. I took dogs for a short walk, measured something to do with the stairs, looking to see how much room was left, and then took the dogs.
And you
to
may
park
have done that, but I don't think you did it at that moment.
At 11:45.
There's a sliver of truth. Maybe you measured the stairs, but not in that moment.
Do you guys normally text each other during the day at all? Like if you go somewhere, you shoot her a text, hey, I'm here, do you need anything at Publix? Pick you up lunch?
Thinking of you. Have a good day. What time are we going to get Jackson?
Sometimes, but we're so close. She would usually come down. She would usually do that in Mama when she was free.
I find it very odd. We've all been in relationships in this room. That your last communication with her via the phone was the day before. The evening of the day before when she tells you that Jim's on his way. I find it very odd that at no time at all on Tuesday that you all communicate via phone. That you're gone on the walk for over an hour, that you're at the park for over an hour and a half, or an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, and there's zero communication between the two of you the entire day until you say you found her just after 3. Not a phone call, not a text. Nothing. My assumption is you don't call or text someone you know isn't going to read it. Can't read it.
It's all going to show in a pattern. And when the pattern breaks on Tuesday,
it's going to look very, very odd. They communicate every single day. But on Tuesday, her communication stops on her phone at this time, and oddly, so does his.
David, what we're telling you with all of this is it's all going to come out in the wash. It's all going to come out. We're trying to afford you the opportunity to say what happened.
And
'Cause
don't.
we know everything but that right now.
Mhm.
We know that something happened between you and her. She's dead. She's murdered, intentionally or otherwise. She's dead. The evidence on her is it is. The evidence in the apartment is what it is. We can't rewind. I know you wish that you could rewind today. Believe me, I've had those days. Probably not to this degree, but I've had those days. But you can't. You have to move forward. And the best course of action for you is to tell the truth. What happened? This BS about 3 o'clock and tubs and it's crap. It's crap. You know it's crap. It's a crappy story. Yeah, you don't know what happened when you were gone. I get it. But you know what happened when you were there. And that's what counts. Don't make it worse on yourself. You have to carry on. You still have your whole life to live. You still have your whole life. Where do you want it to go? How do you want it to proceed? You can't change the facts from today. You can't. The only thing you can do is improve on them, and that's by telling the truth. I know it seems like crazy, like holy shit. If I tell them what happened today, it's not going to be great. Who wants to admit that something happened and somebody died? Nobody wants to do that. I get it. But maintaining this crappy story is going to make it look like you don't give a crap about your dead wife. Think about where you want to be in the future. You still have a future. Now's your opportunity to make it the best it can be.
Do you want to elaborate on that? What do you mean? What do you mean I still have a future? What
You
does
still
that
have a
mean?
future. You still have a life to live. You're still breathing. You're a young man. You still have the rest of your life to live. I can't tell you what's going to happen to you. I don't know because you're not telling the truth. I can tell you that she's the lead detective in this. And if you maintain this BS, she has one choice to go with.
The narrative I choose to write, based on the facts that we know,
Right.
whether it's true or not.
But it's what we have.
You don't want me to surmise what happened, do you? Just based on evidence, testimony? You want me to tell your truth, or do you want to tell your truth? Because if I tell your truth, it's probably going to be first degree, premeditated, and I'll make you probably look like an animal. I don't think that's fair, but you're not leaving me a lot of choice. Okay?
And then what happens?
You face the music.
Which is?
You face the music. You face a jury of your peers. You gotta understand, we're in control of the narrative here. You and I and Detective McClellan are in control of the narrative here. We're gonna know the truth when we hear it. David, we've been doing this a really long time. Okay? We're gonna know the truth when we hear it. It's gonna match what we already know. We've been extremely patient with you.
You're not going to be able to just BS your way out of this. You're not going to be able to maintain this and think it's going to go away. It is not going to go away. The hardest point for you to deal with is right here and now. Right here and now. This is the pinnacle. From here, you choose. I know it doesn't seem real, and they probably think, well, why would she be telling me the truth? Why would she be sitting here to try and help me? Because you're not the kind of person that we've both dealt with in the past. You're not that person. I could be home sleeping. I got a kid at home. No, don't be sorry, because this is my job. And I put forth what I think people deserve. And I think you deserve that. And I can't imagine how hard it is to sit there in your chair right now. But I know you have the ability, I know you're a strong enough man to step up when you made a mistake.
I'm overwhelmed. I appreciate the any kind things that you've said.
I'm missing what you're saying because of your suit that you're moving, but I'm kind of missing it. It's really loud, but I miss what you said because you're talking so low.
I'm sorry, it's following me. I appreciate the things that you've said and the genuine consideration and thoughtfulness behind it. I don't know what else I can say right now.
The truth.
I feel like everything that I have said, and I know you don't want to hear this, you told me over and over, the things that you call discrepancies still ring true and are, if not perfectly accurate, directionally correct to everything.
If not perfectly accurate, directionally correct?
Do you get you're talking about things like evaporation rate and how wet something was. If I miscalculated how wet.
Directionally correct? I don't even know if I know what that means.
It just doesn't mean anything in this context.
Okay.
And
well, there only seems to be one thing, and I don't have that for you. I don't have the information that you're looking for. I'm so sorry.
You don't have the truth? David, you killed this woman.
I cooperated so I could give you all the information and all.
You cooperated because you thought that your language would overwhelm us, and you thought you could pull the wool over our eyes.
I don't think there was any effort to do that.
All these tangents, all this flowery, fancy language,
answers to questions,
all the details.
To questions that you asked. That's
many.
I misinterpreted.
You know how many interviews I've done in 20 years? Hundreds. Hundreds.
Okay.
Okay? And I know the truth when I hear it. Hundreds. Especially from someone who should be acting one way and is acting another. Okay?
And is acting what?
You know, you fake cried for about 7 or 8 hours today. Not one tear came out of your eyes. Not one.
Nope.
Not one. Not on scene with the officers. Not in this room. You have fake cried over this woman's death since we made contact with you for hours. And every single time you fake cried, we wrote it down. Not one tear came out of your eyes. Not one.
Nope.
Okay? We've been extremely patient with you for a very long time. I am losing my patience at this point because there is not a lick of remorse for what you did to this woman. Not even a little bit. Okay? I'm really starting to believe you wanted her dead. And I'm really starting to believe you planned it. David, because not a lick of remorse. Not even a little. You sat there for the last 2 hours and stared at her picture, and you haven't cried. Not one tear. You're staring at a woman you're telling us you're in love with, and you've done nothing the whole time. But close your eyes, huddle up, and protect your own ass. And that's all you've done. You've not shed one tear on that picture. Not one. You claim to love that woman. I would be under the fucking table in a ball if I was in love with that woman and she was dead. I would be inconsolable. I wouldn't even be able to utter the words or talk to detectives for 6 or 7 hours like you have. Okay? You've not shed one tear in that picture. And you've been staring at it since she presented it to you. 2 hours ago. Over 2 hours ago. You are not remorseful for what happened to her. You could give 2 shits about what happened to Shanti tonight. Okay? I told you she was murdered. Murdered. Someone took her life from her. And there's nothing. You can't even fake it. That's how much you could give a shit. You can't even fake it. I know you think your theatrics and your maybe some drama that you've had in your past was good. It was terrible. The officers on scene didn't believe you, and neither do we. You fucked up. That's the end of it. You screwed up. You made a mistake, whatever it is. I'm starting to believe it wasn't a mistake. I'm starting to believe that David wanted this chick dead. For whatever you might gain, for control, creative control of the house, so you can direct the build. I don't know what your motivation would be. But I know you stand to benefit. I know that the show that's going to happen is now yours. That all the decisions that are made are now yours. The $250,000 you tend to inherit, you can build the house of your dreams. Maybe never work again. I know there's motivation. Is it the accurate motivation? Maybe not. Is it what I'm going to paint you as? Probably. Because there's no more arguments over the house. You have complete creative control. You get the TV show. You get the $250,000. You get it all.
I don't get anything.
And you get to sleep where you want to sleep. You don't have to sleep in the garage with the dogs.
Are you kidding? I don't get anything.
You don't have to deal with her son.
How do you not?
The house is in a trust in your name. You never even filled out the notary paperwork to get her name on it. It's in your name. You get everything. You don't have to put up with her. You don't have to. You don't have to listen to it anymore. You don't have to sleep in the garage with the dogs anymore.
On a couch.
On a couch. You don't have to deal with it. She's finally out of your life, just like you wanted.
Your Lexus back.
Get your car back. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to listen to her telling you how she's working her ass off and you're not doing shit.
You can clean the pool when you want. Not mow the grass.
For 3 years she's been bitching about it. You know what Jackson said? If Dave would just listen to me, that's what his mom says. If Dave would just listen to me, this would get done. He even mimics her when she says your name. And he does it perfectly, just like Shanti did it. If he just listened to me. But you don't listen, apparently. She rules the roost. She's a pain in the ass. She wants it done her way.
She wants flat ceilings and flat floors.
Okay? She probably set the bill back by God knows how many months because she didn't listen to you.
And bitched about having to live in one room for 18 months.
She bitched about it. Her son told us she bitched about it. His father told us she bitched about it. And she blames you. She has blamed you the entire time. And after 2 or 3 years of hearing her bitch, or 2 years or a year and a half, however long you've been in that house, of hearing her complain every effing day about that house, and blaming you, belittling you, forcing you to sleep with the dogs in the garage.
Talk about being in the doghouse.
Treating you like treating you like the hired help. Take out the trash, clean the pool. She treats you like a landscaper, like the pool boy. She doesn't treat you equal. Probably because she's bringing in the money.
Or is it something else?
And when we're done talking to her friends and going through her phone and talking to her family, and they tell us all about your relationship.
And video.
And we prove your story is full of holes. And we prove when she died. And we prove where you were. Because honestly, after today, I mean, you've had ample opportunity, David, ample opportunity to tell us the truth. Okay? No one's going to accuse us of not giving you ample opportunity to tell the truth. Because you've had it. You've had a lot of it. So we're just going to prove you're full of shit and solve this case. And I'm glad you think that's funny. I'm glad you think that's funny. I'm glad you think that's funny. Okay? Because every time you smirk and smile, okay, that's going to be seen as well.
Then what do you think? What happened? What happened between you and her today that caused it to end like this? What did she say to you? David, this is your life you're talking about, that you're closing your eyes through. I don't think you're being disrespectful. I don't care about a level of respect right here. I think you're being ridiculous by closing your eyes when you have to think about what's ahead. It will prove where you were when she died. And when you are found to be at that residence when she died by being murdered, and you were the only person there, figure it out. He's motherless. Motherless. He's 8.
Look at him. Look at Jackson, how happy he was. Now think about what you took away from her, or from him. You're kind enough to let them spend time together, quality time together. Now what do I tell Jackson? David's a monster. The man living with your mom, who took your mom to the courthouse, swore to love and protect, honor, who said vows in front of God to do right by his mother, lied his ass off and killed her for the money. What do I tell Jackson? Jackson knows you guys fight. He knows you argue. He's young, but he's bright. Are we boring you? Look at his picture, David.
I have over and over.
How do you explain this? What are you going to tell Jackson? If you're going to sleep, I'm going to start writing. By all means, take a nap while your life's hanging in the balance.